Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. This is a world news. My name is Esther Wachuku and here are the top stories. Thank you for staying with us. A retired police officers protest under rain at National Assembly gates. Now, in another development, however, reps call on, speak directly, probe state of refineries amid conflicting reports. And also in another development, or in a recent development, however, videos emerge of talks concerning Peter Obi and Reconciliation Committee by Dati Baba Ahmed, while Edo APC chairman fires hatred against Peter Obi. Also, Babangida's son clarifies claims of rejecting Tinubu's appointment. Naps bar Peter Obi from Polytechnic campuses. Also, Nigerian also discloses that the president is not patriotic. And Dati Baba Ahmed moves to keep Obi in Labour Party ahead of 2027 meets Julius Abure. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The news begins where during the rainfall, retired police officers staged a protest at the entrance gate of the National Assembly in Abuja earlier today. The protesters are demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme. The demonstrators, comprising elderly ex-police personnel, held placards and chanted solidarity songs as they stood in the rain, insisting that their welfare and dignity have been neglected for too long. Speaking during a protest, a retired Chief Superintendent of Police, CSP Manil Lawal, called on the government to exit police retirees from the pension scheme, which he described as exploitative and unjust. Well, he says that the government needs to do this as soon as possible. Despite the rain, the retirees stood firm, vowing not to leave until their concerns were addressed by the leadership of the National Assembly. Security operatives were seen monitoring the protest to prevent any breakdown of law and order. Meanwhile, House of Rep members on Committee Petroleum Resources will on Thursday meet to deliberate on the state of the nation's four refineries. The four state-owned refineries located in Port Harcourt, Kaduna and Warri have been the subject of controversy in recent times owing to claims and counterclaims of their production capacity. While Nigerians were excited over the news by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited executive, led by the former Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kyari, that the Port Harcourt refineries had resumed the refining of crude products a few months ago, President of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, recently deflated that optimism when he said that the refineries may never work again. This prompted the chairman of the committee, Henry Okoje, to declare the readiness of his team to launch an investigation into the state of the refineries, particularly against the backdrop of a statement credited to the current GCEO, Bayo Ojulari, that all four refineries may be sold. Ojulari had expressed worry over the gap in technological evolution, coming short of saying that the four refineries do not have what it takes to compete in today's complex petroleum refining business. According to him, he disclosed that it was imperative for other measures to be looked into. While calling on Nigerians to be patient, Okoje, a member of the APC, warned against politicizing the issues, stating that the federal government has not taken a decision to dispose of the assets. In an apparent reference to a statement issued by the African Democratic Congress warning against the sale, Okoje noted that Ojulari's remark that outright sale of the refineries could not be ruled out was not the position of the federal government. He also noted that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will ensure that the good of Nigerians supersedes any other consideration. Now, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State, Jarrett Tenebe, has stated that the former Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, is hated in Edo State. Speaking in a viral video, the APC chairman said Peter Obi is not welcome as his visit portends the death of residents in the state. Tenebe stated this while defending Governor Monday Okpebolo of Edo State, who has faced heavy criticism for asking Obi to seek permission before visiting the state. Let's take a brief listen to Tenebe actually disclosing his hatred towards Peter Obi and why the people of Edo State do not support Peter Obi coming into the state.
Now that we have candidates that have engaged in our various primaries, we want to remain to become.
Okay. While we're trying to have that clarified, let's move on to all the stories in the news. According to the APC chairman, he disclosed that when the primaries were going, there have been criticisms all over the press over the statement the governor made yesterday when he was receiving the remaining PDP Edo Central, when he said Peter Obi has to take permission for his rallies. According to the governor, he says that the governor was right in doing what he did because, according to him, the hatred that the people of Edo State have, including him, is not to be taken lightly.
Because of the way we are taking this election seriously, because we want to affirm that we are actually.
Okay, we're having a network situation with that. Moving on to other issues in the world news. At 6, the son of the former military president Ibrahim Babangida Mohammed has described as false and malicious reports circulating online that he had rejected his appointment as chairman of the Bank of Agriculture. Mohammed's appointment was among several strategic appointments approved by President Bola Tinubu to strengthen leadership across key government institutions. A press statement shared via X today by Tinubu's aide Olusegun Dada disclosed that Babangida's son had accepted the BOA chairmanship and expressed deep gratitude to President Tinubu for the trust reposed in him. Mohammed stated that claims of rejecting the appointment are a deliberate attempt to mislead the public and tarnish the image of Tinubu's administration. He further called on Nigerians to remain discerning and to verify information from credible sources. He also disclosed that it was quite important as he gratefully accepts the appointment as chairman of the Bank of Agriculture as announced by the federal government and extends his sincere appreciation to President Tinubu for the trust and confidence bestowed upon him. Moving on, the National Association of Polytechnic Students has declared former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi persona non grata across all Nigerian polytechnic campuses, citing his failure to retract false claims regarding student violence at Auchi Polytechnic in Edo State. Speaking at a press briefing on Monday in Abuja, NAP's president, Eshifuna Paul Ogaya, faulted Obi's handling of the Auchi Polytechnic Student Union election crisis, accusing him of spreading unverified and misleading information. Ogayan described the claim as not only false but reckless, saying it painted a wrong picture of the incident and unfairly linked the violence in Nigeria's political leadership. The students' body said it had earlier demanded a public retraction and apology from Obi, which he failed to deliver. Following what it termed Obi's unrepentant silence, the Students' Association invoked a nationwide ban on his access to all polytechnic campuses. He insisted that the declaration was not an act of vengeance but a call for accountability. Ogayan also addressed Obi's recent claims that Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo had barred him from entering the state, stating that the governor's action was driven by security concerns and standard protocol. While acknowledging Obi's 15 million naira donations to St. Philomena's Catholic Hospital, Ogaya questioned the consistency of the former governor's philanthropic gestures. The NAP's president concluded by advising that donations to religious or healthcare institutions be done with discretion and in coordination with security operatives and security measures. In another development as well, the People's Democratic Party has described President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a poor choice for Nigerians ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Addressing journalists on Monday in Abuja, the PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Olonugaba claimed that the party remains the only credible force capable of defeating President Tinubu on the APC at the polls. According to him, he disclosed that the president is a bad market and a one-term president. Addressing the recent defection of some some of its members to the APC and the newly formed coalition under the African Democratic Congress, Ologunagba stated our party is organic and formidable. It is important to make it clear that the people who make up the party are not defecting. They are not defecting because of hunger or insecurity. The people who form the bulk of our party, as well as Nigerians who are apolitical, look up to the PDP, so they are not defecting. End quote. Meanwhile, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, has moved to reconcile party leaders towards ensuring that Peter Obi remains the party's presidential standard bearer. Dati on Monday described the Labour Party as a historic movement that must not be fractured. Labour Party, according to him, is not a party to walk away from. Dati, who ran alongside Obi in the 2023 general elections, remain party's leaders of the strength they demonstrated at the polls. He also pledged to lead reconciliation talks between Obi and aggrieved stakeholders. This development comes amid moves by the opposition to unite under the African Democratic Congress to secure election victory in 2027. Dati acknowledged attending one of the coalition meetings, but clarified that his loyalty remains with the Labour Party. Let's take a very brief listen to him.
To find a common solution to the problems that have been caused by those who promised governance and ended up politicking across the country. However, if you attend and they discuss other matters besides that, you are at liberty to restore yourself to your former. However, if you attend and they discuss other matters besides that, you are at liberty to restore yourself to your former position. I have attended and I have listened to the coalition attempts, yet I still remain in Labour Party. I am not one to sleepwalk into any political arrangements. I call on all well-meaning politicians and members of Labour Party not to sleepwalk and allow themselves to be led into what they still are not comfortable with. I must say, in the past, a coalition was made, and in the past, a certain Nigerian government was voted out. I note with pleasure that this is what we as Labour Party did in 2023 and what we are about to do again in 2027. I note again that the coalition genuinely plans and intends to vote out the misruling APC. However, the government that follows is even more important than the act of removing a government itself. A government was removed, and what followed after was disaster. So I'm saying that I personally am more of the opinion that it is the kind of government that we form that is more important to me, not just the act of removing the APC. To be accorded the privilege of attending this important meeting. Labour Party is not a party to walk away from. The successes, the history that Labour Party of Nigeria has recorded is unique and unprecedented. We presented clear records and evidence of 10 million votes scored in the last election, thereafter reduced to 6.1 million votes. And for that, I still remain. Labour Party is not a party to walk away from. The act of state capture is a more onerous task than causing disunity and disaffection among and within political parties. After the tragedy of 2023, Nigeria was promised governance, yet we continued to experience unrelenting, underhand politics going on within the country, within the regions, between the regions, and within the parties. A lot of water, as they say, has passed under the bridge. I'm here as a loyal party member. I'm here as a peacemaker, and I'm also here to
And that was Dati Baba Ahmed there, stipulating and emphasizing that he is indeed still a member of the Labour Party, and he believes the party that brought about more than 6 million votes in 2023 is not a party to walk away from. We're heading into our news analysis segment. We'll be joined via the telephone with a legal practitioner, a political and social affairs commentator, and that's the person of Barrister Fred Nzako. Now, Barrister Fred Nzako is one of the members in the Alliance for Democratic ADC, the new coalition, and he is in the right capacity to tell us precisely what this move means. For example, Peter Obi indeed is still a member of the ADC, as he said, but he also has insisted that he is also a member of the Labour Party. However, we have not seen moves with him in terms of trying to reconcile issues with the Labour Party. Is this a tendency that Dati Baba Ahmed is working for Peter Obi to see how issues can be reconciled? Barrister Fred Nzako, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Glad to be with you.
All right, thank you, Barrister. So, just let's start off with the political angle, and then we'll move on to other social affairs. So today, we saw Dati Baba Ahmed, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, with Julius Aburi, Nana Kazaure, and a couple of other Labour Party members that are still part of the Nanadu Usman committee. And he insisted that he is still a member of the Labour Party. Dati Baba Ahmed, we only saw him join the coalition talks, or we saw him in a televised, picture video with the coalition. And after that, we never saw him again. However, Dati Baba Ahmed has on several occasions expressed his doubts about the ADC, that is the collectivity of the individuals in the ADC. And while he was having this conversation with Julius Aburi in the Labour Party, he said that the situation shouldn't be about making sure that Tinubu leaves the government, but ensuring that the kind of leaders that will replace Tinubu would be leaders that will cleanse the system of the old ways of doing things that has kept Nigeria in this conundrum. And he has said that for the Labour Party that delivered more than 6 million votes in 2023 is not a party that would easily be walked away from. Is it possible that Dati Baba Ahmed, along with Peter Obi, are trying to reconcile issues in the Labour Party, whereby Peter Obi could eventually be chosen as the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and possibly walk out of the ADC, considering now, as it seems, that the ADC is for Atiku Abubakar? How do you look at the scenario?
Well, this is an era of politics.
Okay.
Nothing is cast on stone. Nothing is cast on stone. There could be alignments and realignments on a continuous basis until everything crystallizes towards 2027.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong if Mr. Peter Obi is fully reconciled with Labour Party.
All right.
Labour Party recognizes the fact that they need Peter Obi, and Peter Obi possibly needs as well. And then if eventually the vogue that beat Labour Party has left it, whereby Labour Party will now run on the track of sanity, then there's nothing wrong with Peter Obi going back to Labour Party, because he's determined to present himself once more for Nigerians to choose him as their president. And his whole belief is that at least let the people have a robust choice of who will lead them. And he strongly believes that the current leadership is not delivering on the expectations of the people, and that he will do much better than the current administration. So in that wise, it is important that he makes himself available. It is now left to the people to take their choice, into their destiny into their hands by electing the right person, which he believes that person is he, Mr. Peter Obi. So I think it is all politics, and somehow, somewhere, sometime, the whole thing will settle down, and then we know the direction anybody is going. The issues around ADC is still fluid. And the issues around the Labour Party is also still fluid. Most of the things are not on ground. Even the ruling party are beginning to have their own challenges and their own crises.
Yeah.
That is synonymous with Nigerian politics. But let's see how the whole thing will pan out as we advance closer to 2027.
All right, you're very right about that. This administration still has almost 2 years to go, or a year and possibly 8 months or 7 months thereabout to go, and a lot of things. In fact, they say politics, one day a lot of things could change. Barrister Fred Nzako, that a lot of persons have been touting that Peter Obi should be the vice to Atiku. They believe that if Peter Obi is a vice to Atiku, that the Southeast wouldn't have issues in terms of them being attacked. So there are fears that if at all it happens to be that maybe, just maybe, a Peter Obi who is from the southeastern extraction wins, that wherever it is the Southeasterners reside outside their zone, their properties will be targeted. But they feel that, in connection with Atiku, possibly there is this fear for the, say, Hausa Fulani, that kind of attack, wouldn't be on him. Others believe that if an individual as him could deliver about more than 6 million votes in 2023 without any governor, without any strong House of Rep member, and they could pull that why is it not possible for him to have that kind of pool ahead of 2027, and that as it stands, the persons in the ADC seem to be more of other PDP members, and that it's not possible for Atiku to cede power. Also, Wike and other PDP members, there are talks to bring Peter Obi back to the PDP. So right now, talks are ongoing. But is it very clear, as Dati is trying to create that reconciliation, that Peter Obi may actually remain with his Labour Party, work with his Labour Party, as a couple of his supporters have been advising him to do, to make sure that the situation in the Labour Party is resolved and run with the party?
I think it will be very important. Let me say this very clearly, with all sense of modesty, without arrogating to myself the wisdom of knowing the dimension and permutation of Nigerian politics.
Okay.
But let me say this, that it is important that anything to remove Bola Tinubu will not be an easy task. We should know this. Every politician must know this. It is not an easy task to remove him. Yes, his government is not popular among the poor, but then the question is, how much knowledge does the poor have with respect to the direction of their thoughts? So if there is any mistake that will make the people who ordinarily have the capacity to remove him, if they make the mistake, it will be to his advantage. And many people who are asking that there should be resolution between Atiku and Peter Obi, they are saying this with benefit of hindsight, because the Atiku Obi combination of 2019 was a very massive one, and there was an argument that they won that election, but that they were denied. In fact, I belong to the school of thought that believe that they won that election and that they were denied that leadership. Now, if we come towards 2027 and Atiku is running on a different track or be running on a different track, it may end up being to the benefit of Bola Tinubu. So there is need for there to be that concerted unity. An opposition party cannot win an election if they are not united.
Okay.
That is very obvious. They cannot. Now, Peter Obi needs the votes of the North. Let's just go back and need the votes of the South. If they come together, then convince the people about their intentions and the way they plan to rescue Nigeria and make life better for the people, then they will be strong enough to give the ruling government a run for their money. But if for any reason, due to political ego and unnecessary aggrandizement and run separately, the man in Asorok today will be smiling to victory because he will have an opportunity to do whatever thing that he is planning to do. A lot of people are accusing him of planning to rig, but those are mere political accusations. Because if you tighten up all the loose ends, rigging becomes more difficult. And secondly, if you tighten up all the loose ends, even the man who lost an election will very easily concede. Because that's another thing. One is to win, and another is to harvest the fruit of your victory. If you win an election and you are not declared, then it becomes another issue again, which has been an issue in Nigerian politics ever since independence. So this time around, if they know that they want to rescue Nigeria, I advise and I strongly advise that they should keep aside their personal ego and interest and see how best Nigeria can be rescued. Because history is waiting to give account of whatever action anybody has taken at one time or the other.
All right, Barrister Ferlin Zako, I agreed that this is a political season, but when did our politics become this toxic, literally acidic? So you know what happened, over the weekend, which was on Friday, where Monday Okwewolo, the governor of Edo State, came out to declare that Peter Obi is banned from his state and actually threatened by saying that anything that happens to him whenever he visits the state will, it's his business. You don't come to my state without informing me, considering the fact that the insecurity bedeviling my state, and if anything happens to you now, you will call my name. So in other words, you don't have to come to my state without informing me. And that it did not just end there. Despite a lot of backlash, his information minister, commissioner, came out to clarify that by saying that that was not what Okwewolo meant. They even made reference to the past when Peter Obi was the Anambra state governor, that he had actually kept El Rufai in custody for almost 48 hours because of the fact that he came to his state without informing him. So which supposedly approves the governor now of wanting to ensure that Peter Obi does not do the same thing, being the fact that he's a chief security officer or a new sheriff in town, as he, boldly stated. Another thing to also consider is the APC chair in Edo State coming out to say that he hates Peter Obi personally and that the people of Edo State hates him. So in defense to the governor, what he said was right. So in as much as these are opposing elements within our political landscape, such acidic hatred and such brazenness in disclosing all of this, and no police, no DSS, no security operative, even the APC themselves have not come out to condemn this. And then the ADC, which is a coalition that Peter Obi is supposedly part of, Bolaji Abdullahi, the spokesperson, has not even come out to either defend him or speak against, those expletives from Okwewolo and the ADC chairman, Jared Tenebe. How do you react to this, sir?
The governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okwewolo, is a man that is now, he has become public opinion, that he suffers from intellectual dwarfism and knowledge limitations. And the people are wondering how such a man with such a very low level of knowledge has become the governor of a very brilliant state, a state of very brilliant people called Edo State. When he was campaigning, he told the people that he would provide them security. Mr. Shomole, who was on podium with him, cringed, and then eventually they tried to explain it out, but it was doctored. We kept that aside. He went to the House of Assembly to present the budget. He could not even pronounce the figures. He tottered and tottered and tottered, and at the end of the day could not even mention the amount that was in that budget. They kept that one aside. Now the same man could not even pronounce the exact amount that he claimed Peter Obi was giving people in Edo State. He had confusion between 15 million and 1.5 million. And it is that same person that is trying to be a big boy by climbing on the shoulder of Mr. Peter Obi. What I have found out in this country that when anybody tries to become popular, he now uses the name of Mr. Peter Obi. Anybody who wants to become more realized and more known, or possibly even recognized from the crooked corner that he has been kept, he will want to mention the name of Peter Obi, and there are so many of them. So Mr. Peter Obi is now feeding so many people, both directly and indirectly. Those who use his name to create content, those who try to make money from mentioning his name, those who try to insult him and make money therefrom through the social media, they are all feeding fat from that name, Peter Obi. And it also shows you that Mr. Peter Obi's name has become a stink in the conscience of all the people who don't mean well for Nigeria. The name alone stinks the conscience of bad people in government in this country. And they are trying all means to try to tarnish his image. And the more they do so, the more he becomes more acceptable to the people. 2 days ago was his birthday. And there were parties all over the place around the country on his behalf. People just brought out their money, held birthday parties in honor of Mr. Peter Obi. Many of them he did not even hear about. In fact, if not almost all, he didn't hear about. And then both parties going on, both in the north, in the south, and south, all zones across the country, that this is the birthday of their leader, their president. Mr. Peter Obi is the president of Nigeria, even without being in Aso Rock. Because he's the president in the minds of most Nigerians. He's the president. And that simply tells you that if a credible election is conducted in this country, nobody will come close to the scores Mr. Peter Obi will get. Those in politics and in government, they know this. And that is why at every twist and turn, they are afraid of his name. At every look, at everything they want to, anyway, today if you want to incur the wrath of those in authority, don't mention Peter Obi, they will begin to chase you around for nothing. And that is terrible. Like you rightly said, if they are making politics in the environment become very toxic. There's nothing wrong with a candidate being popular. It is his popularity that shows with the kind of intention that he has. So his name should not be sending cold shivers in the minds and in the heart of people who naturally don't mean well for it. Rather, they should be looking up to emulating his standard so that this country will get better. So I think that it's a very sad thing that Mr. Obebolo did, and he threw himself up. Now people have gone to dig out his past and found out that the school certificate he wrote in 2008, he didn't have a single credit out of all the subjects. The best he had was a pass. The best was a pass. And then he went for another for adult education as lately as 2-3 years ago, so that he will brush himself up. You now see why he always causes, he's always caught slipping off in his gaps when he tried to even address the people. Throughout his campaign, it was Oshomole that was jumping up and down on the podium, trying to campaign for him, trying to cover up the limitations that they know there's a lot of limitations. Now he's the governor. He cannot even defend himself. He cannot address the people. Somebody accused him of not even speaking pidgin English, that he's speaking broken English, meaning that it is cut and joined English that he's speaking. Yes, English is not our language, but that is our official means of communication. How can a governor in Nigeria's modern day Nigeria not be able to communicate with his people in basic English language? But when it comes to insulting somebody, meanwhile, in law, what he has done is a harakiri. He has committed a constitutional harakiri. He has no right to limit the movement or restrict the movement of a Nigerian citizen. He has no right to do so. So that thing he said, he deserves to apologize to the people of Edo State for bringing it as a public problem, and to apologize to Nigeria because he swore to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria when he was sworn in as a governor. Now it is unheard of that a governor who was sworn to uphold the Constitution will be the one to come and brazenly breach the Constitution. In some other climes, by now, the House of Assembly will be calling him to come and answer for the shame and ignominy he has brought on the people of Edo State.
All right, Barrister, finally, amidst the rainfall today, some retired police officers staged a protest at the entrance gate of the National Assembly in Abuja. The protesters are demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme. The demonstrators comprise elderly ex-police personnel. They held placards and chanted solidarity songs as they stood in the rain, insisting that their welfare and dignity have been rejected for too long. Barrister, what I saw today, the videos are emanated from this retired policemen who are saying that do not do this. We taught you the current police officers, we taught you how to go about your police work. We set the foundation for you and you are here. We saw some of the policemen stopping their own members who had retired. We saw private Nigerians taking it upon themselves to protest on behalf of this retired policeman. I don't know if you understand. I don't know if to call it a satire or an irony, where most times when Nigerians want to protest concerning bad governance, but concerning the fact that the administration of the day or the government of the day has denied them basic amenities, basic good ways of living, you see police officers stop them from protesting, in some instances arrest them. The same Nigerians were protesting on behalf of this retired police personnel who had served the nation. How do you see this scenario?
The life of an average policeman in Nigeria is one that sometimes needs to be pitied, because you start from their environment where they work. You will pity them. You go to the environment where they live, in the heart. You pity them. You go to the fact of the challenges about their welfare, their promotion, and their payment of salaries and allowances. You pity the policemen. Yes, some of them are corrupt, but sometimes it is the situation they find themselves that lead them to such self-help through corruption. If you provide adequate environment for a man or woman, the tendency of being corrupt will be maximally minimized. Section 96 of subsection 1 of the Police Act 2020 prohibits any form of protest or strike by the policeman. And that is why, because they belong to what you call service, that social service industry. Yes, they belong to the social service industry that are not supposed to go on strike. So you cannot gag them with this provision of the law when you are not taking care of their welfare as provided by the law. So it is even the state, that is the government, that is causing this problem, and not the policemen. There was a particular instance where some policemen approached me to help them, because they are inspectors. They said they have not been promoted for many, many years. They are supposed to have been as superintendents of police, but they are still left as inspectors. Some of them for up to 12, 13, 14 years. They have not been promoted. And some of them, these are 2000 and 2002 sets. But some others who are their juniors, we are promoted to come and meet them. Those who are their class that are about 4 or 5 years below them were promoted, and they came and met them. And when I asked them to put together their grievances, so I would take it up as a rights activist, they chickened out. Because there are a lot of them, somehow, one of them went and gave the information to police authorities, and the police authorities intimidated them with the fact that they reminded them that they are not supposed to protest. Meanwhile, we were to organize, not protestation, but a letter to Police Service Commission and to police organizations, highlighting the challenges of these men and women that have been kept on a cadre for too long. This injustice that we see all around the place is meted even to policemen themselves. And that is why when people are protesting and policemen misbehave themselves, you see that they are people who cannot help themselves and don't even know what they are doing. Because in a bid to obey the last order, in a bid to obey the command and control structure and the order given by their superiors, they even attack the people that they should share the same victimization with them. So it is very wrong that policemen will be not taken care of, yet you tie their hands from protest. Now, the retired ones are no longer in active service. They are taken as mere civilians. Thereby, this section 96 of 1 that prohibits protest or strike does not affect them. And that's why they should protest where they are not taken care of. But remember one policeman whose lamentation went viral some weeks ago. when he was, after serving police for 35 years, he retired and his benefit was 2.1 million.
Yeah.
2 million. And the man said that he was not going to touch it. He went to make a video and posted it, and it went viral. To the extent that the police IG had to set up a committee to look into the welfare of the police. So that simply tells you that even that committee was not doing any work, or possibly it the other disbanded, or the reports have brought and they swept under the carpet. So the police hierarchy themselves are not doing well to the rank and file. So it is, it is a very unjust society that we run, whereby virtually everybody is complaining. But the authority, very soon they will forget their complaint. The same problem that the retired policemen have are the same problem that people in civil service have, where they will continuously be denied of their pensions and gratuities. Some of them die clean up for verification. So we are building a society of injustice, and it leaves nobody with any positive, feeling at all. Everybody will be getting the brunt of it, because if it doesn't happen to you directly, it will happen to your relation in one way or the other. What is best for Nigerians is that to build an egalitarian society where there will be justice, equity, and fairness. And you see people being happy and patriotic. On that note, you see the country developing and harnessing the huge natural resources that God has blessed us with. Otherwise, what we are doing is we are not building a good nation. Rather, we are building a nation that will continue to debilitate and frustrate the citizens.
Barrister Friday Nzako, thank you so much for taking your time and giving us your insight into some of the stories read out on the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Many thanks.
All right. And just before we go, let's look at stories outside the shores of Nigeria. The UK and 24 nations condemn the horrifying killing of hundreds of Gazans trying to get food from Israel's aid operations. Suffering of civilians in Gaza has reached new depth, and this is by a statement from a joint group of persons in Gaza concerning the release of Israeli hostages. Now, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy calls Israel's aid operation inhumane and announces an extra £40 million worth for humanitarian assistance in Gaza this year. Earlier on today, Israeli tanks launched their first ground assault on Dar Abala in central Gaza. As it stands at the moment, basically piecemeals and drip feeding are being offered to those in Gaza. Israel, however, did not allow the media or the international media into Gaza to report freely. You're currently listening to the World News at 6. My name is Esther, and watch come to a close. Do join us for the evening rush at 7 o'clock. Good evening, and thank you for listening.